Another week in the books in the Canadian Premier League. Not exactly an instant classic. Difficult for two teams to play one another in the same week. And for the fourth time already in this 2025 season in all competitions, Cavalry and Vancouver played to a draw. This one, it was goalless. Welcome to Match Night. I was away last week. Gareth Wheeler with you. Good to see the show is still on the air. Jordan Wilson, Jimmy Brennan back with us here tonight. The boys in blue are raring to go. It's late night, and I can feel the energy exuding from
we're ready.
You.
Oh,
You
yeah.
ready?
Yeah.
Jim?
Yeah, let's do it.
Come on, I need a full commitment here. Here are your scores this week in the Canadian Premier League. Atletico Ottawa playing Forge to a 1-1 draw. Big one, top of the table clash, late penalty by Balou Tabla to share the spoils there. Pacific back on the winning note. Tuwali, the hat-trick hero for Pacific. They beat Halifax 3-2. Another 3-2 result. York United get past Valor at home on a hot and humid Sunday evening. And the match you just watched right here on One Soccer, Vancouver Football Club 0. Cavalry 0. So here's your up-to-date table. Atletico Ottawa still leading the way despite Forge still undefeated on their 2025 campaign. York United maintain that separation between 5th and 6th, 18 to 12 points, and Valor and Vancouver, man, work needs to be done, 10 points back of a playoff spot. Let's go back to Langley, where Vancouver played Cavalry to the goalless draw. The headline here has to be Cavalry, because this has been a mess of a week. First off, with Tommy Wheeldon Jr.'s side being dumped out of the Canadian Championship, no matter how they spin it, this falls short of what their internal expectations were to try to do some damage in the TELUS Canadian Championship. They lost to Atletico Ottawa before that, and now really a lethargic goalless draw. Any warning signs for you, Jordan, here when it comes to Cavalry? What are you seeing? Or more importantly, what aren't you seeing right now?
They're in a lull. That's what I'm seeing. They're in a moment right now where they're not really getting everything going that they need to really compete in matches. And I think the biggest thing that sticks out, watching them closely the past couple of years, they always had players to maybe dig them out of the trenches, whether it be a Dan Klomp on a set piece, or Camargo, or Warshevsky last season as well, Moosey in years past. None of these players are really digging them out of that situation. And I look at this, Jimmy, I'm not panicking yet, but this is the time of the season where Cavalry usually play their best football and they go on a run, an unbeaten run. I just can't see that happening quite yet, but maybe it's lurking in the background soon.
I think so. I think they've got the quality. They got depth. They're a good side. They're experienced. Look, they still got a game in hand. You win that game, you're only 4 points behind Ottawa. They're still in the hunt. And I think, you guys know exactly that when you play during seasons, you're going to have little spells where things aren't going to go well for you. But the experience that you have in that locker room will get them out. And come the end of the season, they're going to be at the top.
Here's the warning sign for Cavalry. Is lack of goals scored. They've scored 1 goal or fewer in 7 of their last 9 games, and their last 7 in all competitions. Tobias Warshevsky hasn't scored a goal. This one, Ali Moosey, one of your top players, that quite frankly the ball has to be in the back of the net, and they're playing the bottom of the table side. I know you just played them on Tuesday, but Vancouver went down to 10 men on the 62nd minute. You have half an hour to go find something, and it just seemed like they struggled to even get over the finish line here, Jimmy. Like, is there a point where you say, you know what, maybe they're just a little bit fatigued? They're tired right now because they simply don't look like the same team that was dominant from this point forward last year.
No, Gaz, you could be right. Maybe a little bit of fatigue is setting in. But did they have chances today? Yeah, I looked at Valling. He should have scored. Camargo should have scored. Moosey had a great chance there where you expect him to score towards the end there. Gutierrez. So they're getting the chances. The chances are there. It's just not finding the back of the net. But I think once it does start to click, it's going to be a different story. And now, is it panic mode for me? No, not at all. Not with this squad. They're in a little bit of a lull. I know you like that. That's where they are right now, but they'll be fine.
I think when I look at this team, I don't know, maybe teams in the league are thinking the fear factor has kind of left. I felt like going into the season, there was a big oh no, mark the date where you play Cavalry, you're going to have to roll up your sleeves and defend well, and they were dangerous. And maybe that the sting or that fear factor has just subsided a bit, but they still have time to turn that around. But in the next couple of weeks, it has to happen, because I think with how competitive the league is on the top end of the table this year, They got to do it sooner rather than later.
2-4-1 in their last 7. I mean, you can be a tough team to beat, but you still got to go out and win games. True. And they haven't been showing that over the last, since really the month of May. As for Vancouver, I mean, shout out to the guy in the crowd coming back from halftime. It's a genius T-shirt. Vancouver FC, CPL, you need to be marketing that. The best last place team in league history.
No chance you're winning that.
That is a brilliant shirt, and that's playing off a quote of the manager, Ashin Gopi. I think it's genius because that's what they're selling right now. Hey, we're not that bad, but they're in last place with a 10-point gap between them and a playoff spot. I mean, their regular season has to be on the fritz. It has to be. And maybe they're only playing in the cup competition now. Should that really just be their sole focus, is a can champ in the upcoming 2 legs against Atletico Ottawa?
Look, it can't be because I'm a hypocrite because every week I've been saying, please let it be a race to that 5th place spot. And now I'd be saying the opposite. Like, no, it doesn't matter about the league. Finish 8th. As long as you make things interesting against Atletico Ottawa. You want both things to be true. But I will say that I think that galvanized that group completely. You're looking at this team now where you're thinking, okay, they didn't win today, they got a point, but there's still players that are like playing for something. There just seems to be a bit of a vibe within that squad, but they still have to flip that into league play. They have to start winning games. You can't be 8 points in halfway through this, have 8 points halfway through the season. That's just not good enough.
Yeah, Jimmy?
I agree with him.
I just don't think that Vancouver are that bad. I think they're okay, but the record is what the record is. Yeah. And it doesn't read a pleasant story. When you have your manager, I love Avsheen, I love this quote, but he's comparing his team to Tottenham Hotspur. No. So Vancouver FC, we're Spursy? Is that the next shirt that's going to come out? So, yeah, not a great state of play there. But CanChamp still very much alive. A match of the week in the Canadian Premier League came on Saturday, a top-of-the-table clash. Atletico Ottawa against Forge. Diego Mejia of Atletico Ottawa said they need to win games like this if they want to prove that they can hang with the big boys in the Canadian Premier League. They didn't go out and win the game after all, Jordan, but is a 1-1 draw enough to show you that this team is still legit?
Yeah, I think they're legit. I still just think there's one team that's better than them in the Canadian Premier League. And look, people thought that maybe my favorite color was orange starting the league and that, I just love Forge. But there's a reason why they're there at the end of the season every year. It's the way they play football, but Jimmy, you know this better than anyone. It's the way they approach games. Keep in mind, they didn't start with Brian Wright up top. They play with Ampoma, someone who's pacey. Wheels, you say this week in and week out as well. Someone that's a linear threat. And if you look at the match and take in the finer details of the game, Atletico Ottawa were a bit insecure. They weren't playing their football, and you see even here where Bobby Smirniotis kind of talked about how he fancies his chances going against Atletico Ottawa in the back line. So I think this matchup is something that we'll see again, obviously in the season, but in postseason. But I think Forge is still the stronger side out of the two.
It's because that Atletico Ottawa back line is so young, but they're very good. Just as the game went on, we saw Forge play very defensive against CF Montreal in the Canadian Championship this week. I found that as the game went on, Forge continued to drop deeper and deeper, and that played into the hands of a team like Atletico Ottawa, Jimmy, a team that's not afraid to go out and play on the front foot, and eventually they were rewarded for the work that they put in. It's a little bit of a contrast of style at times between these two teams.
No, it absolutely is. You know, they are completely different, the way that they play, the way they approach the games. I mean, with Forge, we know, look, they're winners. They know how to win games. They're on the front foot. They like to dictate how the game's going to be played. But this Ottawa side, you can't take anything away from them. I think they built a good squad here. They've got good players. I like the way that they're playing their football. They're at home. I mean, look, you end up getting a draw, which isn't bad, is it? When you're at the top of the table. You want to win every game, but these are two very good sides that are playing against each other. And both of them getting a point, I think would be both all right with that.
Ottawa had a chance. I mean, the Rama, that was just reckless. Really good right back in Rezat Rama. That was reckless right there. But, man, there were two chances in the build-up towards that. Sam Salter, header, just missed. Corey, who came on, put it straight at the goalkeeper. That's why I'm so encouraged about Atletico Ottawa, the way that they play. No matter who they're playing against, they're creating chances. It's like really, really watchable football. 31 goals scored. Probably should have had another couple in this game. XG monsters.
There's only one game they've played all season against Halifax in Halifax, where they lost 2-0. That they didn't look threatening.
They didn't have David Rodriguez.
They didn't have David Rodriguez. But outside of that, they've been exceptional going forward.
All right, so if you could put your money on it right now, is the final game of the season for the North Star Cup going to be played in the province of Ontario?
Think so.
You guys think so?
1-2 is Forge against Atletico Ottawa.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens. Maybe it's Cavs or maybe it's Halifax.
Okay. Let's swing it out to the West Coast on Saturday. It was Pacific against Halifax, a coastal clash. And Pacific found a new star, and they've been begging to find someone that can put the ball in the back of the net up top. And it's Tuali who ends up scoring a hat trick for Pacific in this game. Even more encouraging for Pacific, a game they found themselves down 1-0 and 2-1. They come back to win it. 2-1 they were down after Tuali opened the scoring. They came back to find those 2 goals to win it.
Did he mean that?
No.
No.
No, he didn't.
The shot soul roll. He mastered that one.
This is a great header by Thiago Coimbra, a player that's running into really good form. I mean, as much as I'm let down by Halifax dropping points in this game, they certainly had chances. It was desperation time. It was put up or shut up when it comes to Pacific, and they came away with the result.
Yeah, it was. They needed someone to have a breakout performance, and that's what Tuali had.
Look at this from Coimbra. Look at this. That's really good center forward
great
play.
Timing, but beautiful finish as well. Halifax Wanderers, I love that they're scoring goals. I love that they're attacking the way that they are. But obviously, the big talker yesterday was Jan Tuali, that hat trick and the way that he performed. And if he could step up like that for Pacific, maybe they can start getting these 3 points and really compete for that last playoff spot.
Boom. It wasn't just Tuali. I mean, the third one's going to come on a pen. It's this Pacific team that's completely been devoid of attacking threats.
Yeah.
At least they had it in this game.
They did.
I mean, that's what the missing link is. There's been so much pressure put on the Pacific back line and goalkeeper based on the way they play. This is how they need to play, Jimmy. Getting players like Bustos attacking the back line.
They have to. Especially at home, you've got to be on the front foot. You've got to be able to take a risk. And they were rewarded with 3 goals in this match, and I thought he was very, very good.
Good finish. I mean, this is a class flip, like 2-footed takeoff and a front flip.
You could do that.
Tuali's now on 4 goals. Based on this game, joint leading goal scorer with Pacific, with Ali Endom, the center back. I mean, that shows you the state of play.
That's the issue. What you said before, right? They're inconsistent. You don't know what you're going to get at times with Pacific. They do create some opportunities, but they can't finish. And all of a sudden now you got a player who scores 3 goals. Can they continue that into the next match? That's going to.
What's really interesting, Jimmy, is like the rumor mill is swirling that Guero Diaz is going to end up back in Pacific.
Yep.
So then a guy scores a hat trick, and then Guero Diaz comes in. Then all of a sudden you maybe have some players competing for spots up top, where it's kind of been a revolving door.
Yeah, I guess it's just which Guero Diaz are we seeing? Like 2022 Guero Diaz?
Pacific Guero Diaz?
Like,
good one.
He was, great movement, but since he left the league, he just hasn't really been the same. And I know he's quality. I've said this many times, probably one of my toughest opponents that I played against. But, like, you can't keep talking about 3 years ago. There has to be a point where you actually show your quality now. So if he makes that move, I mean, that's something that James Merriman and company need to trust, but he has to hit the ground running.
Our final game of the weekend was Sunday evening. York United 3, Valor 2. Both teams coming off disappointment of being dumped out in the Canadian Championship. Particularly difficult one for Valor, playing against the Whitecaps, putting so much energy before losing that match in the 90th minute, traveling cross country to play at York United. But they started strong. Like, they were very well organized. Kean Williams stepping up. Good finish here from a player that missed all of 2024. Goals in back-to-back weeks for him. And you're thinking, okay, Valor are just going to continue on like they played against the Whitecaps. Not so much. I mean, the defending here is absolutely atrocious. They've now conceded 14 goals in their last 4 games. Look, like, this isn't a pen. There's no contact on Viscosi. But the goalkeeper was played into a difficult position because of poor decisions by the players from a defensive perspective.
Yeah, there are schoolboy errors, but what makes that worse as well, there's schoolboy errors that weren't accompanied with desire or heart to get back into a situation. This is towards the end of the first half, and this is a counterattack. And look at Yates coming unmarked. There aren't players for Valor that are willing to get back and to screen or to help out Viscosi. And look, if you don't have that within your team, Jimmy, the wherewithal to go and fight, then the match is already over before it started.
You know, when I watched them against Whitecaps, I thought they were absolutely brilliant. I thought they stuck to their game plan. Defensively, they were organized. The discipline was brilliant. The 2 center backs I thought were absolutely terrific. But that has to continue every single match.
Yeah.
You can't play like that against the Whitecaps and then all of a sudden go play against York and concede goals like you did.
Yeah.
It's not right. I mean, there's obviously there's an issue and it has to get rectified.
That's a great hit by the 20-year-old Miles Morgan. Did well with the Canada under 20s. That's a good hit, good moment for him, his first CPL goal. I said it on our post-match show, and I don't mean to pick on players, but typically when I point things out about individual players, it's because I rate them.
Yeah.
And they need to be better. Femi Antonoglou was one of the best fullbacks in the Canadian Premier League, one of the best defenders in the Canadian Premier League. When he watches back that tape, the lack of effort he put in on all 3 goals, it's shocking to me. This was a player that was banking on potentially making a move out of the league last year. And for an effort like that and being pulled off early, like, he didn't deserve to stay on the field. I hope this is a wake-up call for him because there's a player there. He's a really good player, but it has to be better than that.